When you have the opportunity to meet empowered women, men, and days, you get to meet those who know sciences and spirituality. They come together. They don't have to be spirituality. I'm a 5D mystic, so I am spirituality. I'm in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, but I'm also a functional adult. So I know secure attachment. I know how to use my brain. And that's because my emotions are not ever in this place of overwhelming because I have a good relationship as a securely attached 3-year old. Okay, so here's where Peter Levine, thank you. When we can feel our body as the container, this body right here is my divine feminine. You got one too. Oh, woo woo pseudoscience lady, because bringing human, spiritual, and spirituality elements, subject matters, it's in the pseudoscience category. Woo woo, because not everybody believes in mystics. And it's nice when you meet the sciences who don't treat you like woo woo because they're curious. And then we're going to talk about that. So, those are the empowered women and men. I don't know any days, but any empowered person is a grown human being emotionally. They know how to love themselves, number one. They know anyone who says, don't love yourself first, it's a myth, doesn't know what they're talking about. They obviously don't know Terry Real or Patrick Tiahan and how they go about saying, when people say, love yourself first, are you confused? And those are two therapists. So they help people to know how to learn how to love themselves, and to learn about their self. Some of us, we didn't need to learn because we didn't lose ourselves. Here's an inner child right here. Okay, so my container, safe. When we can feel our body as the container, then the emotions and the sensations do not feel as overwhelming. They are being contained. Peter Levine. I'm also attachment trauma informed. So when you get informed, thank goodness, Bezel Vanderkoel came around, I was like, wow, you answered my question of why people have such a hard time, Bezel, being their self. It was the minute you told me in your book, The Body Keeps the Score, that people look outside themselves when they feel afraid inside. And I didn't know all about our embodied brain, and the nervous system is part of that. So now that I do, I'm like, okay, I got it. The safety behavior, the attach, cry, collapse, submit, please, appeasers, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flop, drop. So any person who's in their biological rudeness, and that's the survival reptilian mode. So there's a bunch of them out there. And that's why healthy, empowered women, yeah, we're not going to vibe. It's like they're going to be invisible, but if they come near us, we're going to be like, I'm not, no. And so we're going to talk about that, okay? So empowered individuals, they know what healthy boundaries are, which is why we don't get rude with people. Now, if they're still not in a place of finesse yet, so when I meet women, they know about healthy boundaries. They haven't put it into practice as much. So they know not to get controlling or angry. They're not love dependents. The love dependents are not empowered yet. They still need Terry Real because they become squirrels like Cusco. I've met them. They talk about men as pieces of shit. And you see them actually yelling in these men's faces, calling them covert narcissist, calling them even the other one. What is that? Malignant. They just use all these words. It's like, wow, you're using words on a person that you're dating. Like, what is this? Do you not know your gut? Oh, wait, maybe you don't. Do you know about Terry Real? Do you know about Patrick Tiahan? People don't like when I ask them if they know about the good attachment trauma information. No, they don't say anything. They just say, oh, I want the tarot card, Maria. Give me guidance with tarot, please. You know about trauma bonding? You really want to look into that one because that's way better. You know about martyrs, superiors by any chance? Because those are the low self-esteem and the codependent type relationships. No, you don't know? Oh, that's your karma. Well, you do know your karma is the 0-1 to the 3 to 7, your unconscious stuff. So it's all here. You can work with it. Oh, I see. You have a justification. That's right. Stephen Porges, he did tell me that any person in biologically rude safety behavior would justify their maladaptive child behavior. Because the inner child did everything it could. The inner child doesn't have the first 3 years of your life, your implicit memory. Yeah, not explicit. It's a lot of nonverbal stuff. That first year is completely nonverbal. The left mode of your brain comes online in the second year of your life. You're bored by now? Okay, really? Wow, you don't really want to do personal development, do you? So, anyways, that's what we do over here, and we provide a safe haven, secure base for people who want to be their grown-up version. It's really fun. Empowered lovers. Yes, as I was saying, they don't just show up and leave. No, they're consistently with their words and their actions and their emotions. They can't be a lover if they have no inner child. Because, yeah, it's a love avoidant. Then we got a love avoidant. That one is really straightforward. They shut it off, and you can tell. You can tell when somebody closes their heart and when it's open. Closed, open. Yeah, we are embodied brains, all of us. Nobody has a magic actually wand. And in fact, mysticism is not a magic wand, but, magic. Science is magic that works. No, science isn't spirituality. Let's get back to our topic, shall we? So, yeah, when empowered women, I'm a woman, so I don't know about the empowered men. I'm sure they'll come over and share with us how easy it is for their gut to say, yeah, no, you ain't going to treat me like that. Some will have needed first Patrick Tiahan, childhood trauma survivor, healed and healing therapist, so they will have had to learn to reparent themselves. Then they'll come on over here and be like, hey, empowered women, we're joining you because, wow, did you see all those people, the love dependent ones? Wow, look at the love dependent men. They're really something, aren't they? Okay, so we don't like to tease in a certain way, but we will make it clear. No. Okay. When you have empowered people around you, they all we nod our heads together. So you'll find a group of people, they're the human love narrative group. We love all people, but some people we don't match because you're not getting the good therapy so that you can know what healthy boundaries are. And your vibration is all over it because you're a nervous system, as I was saying. So the shame vibration is not one that's fun to be in for those people. We won't do anything with it because we feel bad. Automatically, I'm like, wow, that's a okay, I'm not going to expand. You're not even expanding. You're not evolving. You're not ascending. Your spirituality process is just waiting for you to turn inside. Oh, Elsa Journey people, they forget they have a 3-year-old. No, they don't remember. They're too busy with the superhero capes, the mantles of mental health, and the mantles of yoga. Yeah, the spiritual bypassers, they think spiritual means that they can talk about people like energy vampires and say, oh, God sent me a test. My test was to let you be forgiven and forgive myself for forgiving you for lying to me and cheating on me. Just go polyamory, please. It's called consensual non-monogamy. It's not unfaithfulness. Unfaithful are the monogamous men. You better bet whenever I've gotten any of them, I'm like, does your wife know? Are you polyamory? I am, but I'm not interested in you. But is it okay for you to be doing this? Why am I making a big deal? I'm not making a big deal. I'm just asking a clear question because you make it seem like it's okay. And I'm trying to figure it out because I'm pretty sure you didn't tell me that you were in a polyamorous. But again, I'm not interested also. So I'm just saying, did you not make a choice when you were too young to think or were you were older? I see. You were an older gentleman, huh? Wow. You weren't even an 18-year-old who didn't know what you were doing. You were a 30-year-old. That's interesting. I can see your consciousness is nowhere to be found. So when people don't grow up, they remain Cuscos, and those are Pinocchios with ears and tails. And you better bet that's not a badass empowered anything. And when I see Venus as a goddess as a maid telling people a lot of things, okay, I'm done with teasing the YouTube plane. We have a lot of YouTubers on there, right? So I see a lot of the Cuscos, and so every now and then they come to my brain and the people out there that I see, like breakup coaches, and people are saying, here's how to get the attention of the avoidant. And I'm thinking, really? I'm going to go for secure attachment. Avoidant means that they're going to be shutting themselves off, forgetting about me completely, not even knowing, not even caring. If they're caring, they're moving towards secure attachment because I know all about how it's possible. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. I mean, there's a lady, she healed from DID because she's not broken. Nobody is. She's writing a book about it. So, it's kind of like, do you want to be half a human or a whole human? I'm going to say secure attachment is the whole human, not it's boring to be here. It's actually quite the opposite. It's very interesting to be near people, men, women, and days, but the men in particular that are in that biochemistry of the adrenaline stuff from, action movies. It's like, yeah, okay, some of us were like, no, you can stay in the human suffering love group over there. That's not badass. You're not a whole human yet. Humanity is not overflowing. Where's your inner child? The poor things. Let me out, let me out. Okay, so that's another group of people completely that I don't even know half of anything because, again, avoidance won't come near us. The needy ones will, and the needy ones get put in their place. And if they turn into squirrels, we're like, look, I got it. You're pissing your pants. There's nothing I can do about it. So go play and have fun with the other ones that are vibing in your same vibration. But we don't call them energy vampires or dark auras or pieces of shit. Even though, as I was saying, so some empowered people, they haven't done enough work with that. Let's become grown-ups about things, right? So sometimes I have some of my empowered women. We were talking about those desperate manipulative, the nice guys, nice gals, both. We don't know any days. My group doesn't know any days, but we do know the nice gals, nice guys. So they're equally manipulative and distorting things all over the place. And when we see from afar what they're doing, we're like, okay, so they have their group, and hopefully they will have figured out none of us like them in the best way possible. Okay, and so as I was chit chatting with a group of girlfriends, we were like, okay, we think they got it. Maybe this time after 3 years, they've figured it out and they will leave it alone. And then some exaggerate again. They use words that are a lot stronger, and it's like, okay, we don't have to use those words. Okay, so that's a side note, but that's how empowered women, we come together, we figure out nice guys, nice gals, they hang out together, they vibe together, we vibe over here, and if they come on over and the nice gals try to get us to go out with the nice, no, so sorry. No, you know what? Yes, they all have beautiful traits. You give me a list on a sheet of paper. They can read to you poetry. They can do and play music. Oh yeah, all of look. There's a what happens when somebody presents an empowered woman. This is where I'm gonna have to. Okay, when you give me a list, you're giving me a blank piece of paper. It's almost like there's nothing because I'm not going to feel life in it. There's no inner child. Because when you have low self esteem, you haven't grown up inside. You're not a piece of consciousness. I'm trying to describe this because it's a very specific energy that an empowered human being will know of. It's because your nervous system, so am I. So all the empowered women will be like, yeah, you can tell me that you have $1 million. Maybe for the $1 million because I want the money, but what I'm going to perceive in front of me is a blank piece of paper. It's like an open window, but there's no wind coming in. I'm going to be presented with, I know I'm looking at something, but you're so flat lined. Yes, the flat line is the best example. It's a flat line. You know flat lines? Okay, so not the sound, the feeling of a flat line. It's like a hot day. You want a bit of wind. There's a wind. There's the sound of the wind, but you hear no wind, So it's something where, and I'm trying to describe to you all because it's how I feel personally. I perceive through this way. And so what I'm talking about is if there are people around us, they can have all these qualities being listed by the nice gals who want to try and convince us that nice guys, which again, no, just humans. Give us enriched human beings who enjoy, and then we'll see, and we'll know it already immediately, not later. Immediately I will know if you're enriched or if you're not. And then when you got Cusco shit going on, that too. So we learn how to walk around Cusco, nobody with eggshells. In fact, the eggshells, that's when we get the angry controlling, but they can't control, which is why we're going to be like, look, and no, okay, you know what? Let's agree to disagree and part ways. And it was great knowing you. Okay, so that's for, again, another side. And this full moon brought about a beautiful recalibration for the empowered people out there. So on that note, science is spirituality. What is really nice for a 5D mystic is when I'm getting to hang out with my empowered women, and those empowered women, they have the same way. So we don't feel those blank piece of paper. And if they come near us, we will try to be decent and say, yeah, sure, bye. And we will make sure they notice that we're leaving. And if they say you don't like us, well, it's that I don't know how to say it. Yes. Do I need to spell it out? I mean, I thought walking away from you like that made it clear. And so, yeah, no matter how many times they keep trying to make it like, how do you treat somebody like that? Well, I'm not treating you like anything. I just don't have any common interest with you. And it's because of the vibe that we are different. It's not because of, you not being decent. Of course you're decent. Okay, it's just you're not somebody I enjoy hanging around with. Okay, so having said that, we go and hang out with the people we enjoy, and all groups play in the playground because it's big enough for everybody to be able to mingle and tiggle. And that's the setup. So when we meet people who like to hear about mystic plane and we like to hear science plane, here's why: the container and emotions. It's all people who are emotionally aware, accountable, and self-regulating. So nobody's like, oh my gosh, we don't want to have a mystic around. We don't want the woo-woo lady, or we don't want those people over here. So we don't do any of that. Even though, I mean, again, we just did it with that other group. So it's true. That's valid. That's because, well, there's no excuses. So it's why we say, yeah, okay, we are selective sometimes. We can be picky. We just don't mean to make it look like we're being picky. Okay, I'm done with that one. You got the gist of it. what I love is when we have the empowered men who figure it out. And they're like, yep, you know what? We don't even know why those beautiful people over there are hanging out together. They really need to go elsewhere, and it's like, well, they're keeping each other safe in their same vibration. It's what they know. They know that manipulative, desperate mingle, mitch, and match and stuff like that. So it's actually making me think I need to figure out which one of the cartoons, because there's a twosome that has this type of energy. It'll be fun. I'll think about it. But back to the other experience that I wanted to share today. So as I'm talking to my sciences lady friend, she is studying to become a doctor, and we were talking about ascension and spirituality and the 5D planet Earth and all of these great pieces of topic that she and I exchanged. And she was saying, it's so amazing how you're perceiving life, because it feels like you have that 100% spectrum, because we're more than those five senses. So some of us, once you get into your restorative embodiment, your integrated brain, and you're here as a whole you, okay, you overflowing with humanity. Divinity has to descend is how Sadhguru's quote goes. But divinity, don't look at it with those, don't do the belief system stuff. Do dark matter, dark energy. Okay, so perceiving energy, it's like perceiving the wind, but it's more than just that. It's like perceiving the texture of the ocean. Okay, so I describe on purpose because I know there are people who have the sixth sense, introception, and then there's a seventh, and then there's an eighth. This is with Daniel Siegel that I learned of them. I forgot the seventh and eighth right now, but there's also eight senses. Wait a minute, this one was from another course of mine. See if I can find my notes, because we all have the capacity, as we integrate though our brains, which is a part of why personal development and self-help for those who are serious, and that's why you work with your emotions. Okay, so you remember, the people who are not moving into independent lovers, it's a child's journey. Either they go on it or they don't, and people for some reason don't want to go to therapy. So don't ask me, because I didn't need one, because I had a child-centric environment. I have a twin. The twin makes a difference, because I lived beyond a solo self, having fights and not fights and getting explained, so I don't have shame because I got explained. Defective, no. Different. Different isn't a competition. I got Jesus and God. Don't be envious. Don't be jealous. So I got that child-centric environment. And compersion. Compersion is happiness for your partners, for my poly secure community. Come on over. I'm not competing. There's one of me. Actually, I have a twin, but she's not me. Here's a funny story. We were in a new school. We had boyfriends. My sister says, let's play a trick. I said, no. They won't notice. No, that's not right. What are you doing? No. She found it funny. I didn't. I said, I'm not doing that. Even in another, let's exchange classes. No, no, not doing that either. So, again, there's one of me. They could tell. We don't know. We won't find out. That's not something we're going to do. Okay, 8 senses: visual, auditory, gustatory, olfactory, tactile, vestibular, proprioception, and interoception. Okay, so the interoception is when you can feel inside. It's why I was and still can be a hypochondriac, because anything that's moving, I just perceive it. So this is where people who have numbness, they know they have numbness. So see, everyone has the capacity to perceive what's the container, which is why Peter Levine was important to mention at the beginning, because when you can have all those emotions, it's good. That means you have a window welcome, or at least of tolerance. When you know that it's, then we want to get extra support. Okay, so Empowered Sciences Lady and I are talking about ascension and mysticism and clairs and what happens when you're doing an Akashic record reading and when the planet is going through its changes, and tarot and everything that I do. And she says this thing of, wow, it feels like you have 100% perception, and FYI, when you're meditating, colors, images, sensations, all this. Peter Levine, he's great. Buy his books. Sciences, spirituality, they come together, but sciences dispels the myth that there's some demon or devil or something that owns anyone. No, you have an embodied brain. Now, if you want to believe stories versus sciences, then please go and be with the flat earthers. That's why 5D mystic woo-woo is okay for me. I am in favor of the academics who share with you how to get home to your whole inner child. Again, self-help, personal development. It's very serious. And for people who are healing their trauma seriously, they need us because there's all those mantles of mental health. The superheroes, yeah, you know what their supervillain is? We are saving you from the narcissist. The narcissist needs a good therapist, not you who are still battling your own childhood trauma. Apparently, you had maybe a narcissist. So you're now going around prancing and saying that God is testing you with an art. What? Why are you using those words? Okay, so the mantles of mental health and the mantles of yoga, they don't know true spirituality, the mantles of yoga. Those are spiritual bypassers because otherwise they'd know there's no energy vampire. We're all the human herd. Okay, so it's very exciting. So Science's lady and I were talking, and and she says no, because it feels like I'm only perceiving 10% of what is the entirety of the spectrum. And I was like, we should have a little bit more exchanges so that I can figure out what you are saying because I know what you're saying to me, but I'm now curious because it's important for me to notice how different I'm talking about life than how you're feeling it. And so here's why the beauty of empowered women, men, and days when they come together with an intellect that involves sciences and spirituality, and that is with people who have compersion, because healthy self worth means you're going to be happy for all. As she's telling me, I can perceive 10%. She's not becoming envious, jealous, or spiteful versus 4D. I have clairs too. I know what I'm talking about. Nobody said you don't know what you're talking about, and clairs are not some superpower gift that you're supposed to be right about. Right or wrong is where the maladaptive child behavior, adaptive children, they make it about themselves. Left mode, I know everything. Right mode, not doing anything. And basically, what's happening is you want to be right, and so making it all about me, regurgitating and vomiting whatever upset's going on. And the minute I'm not taking your side and saying you're mistaken, so we're not attuning, we're not calibrating right now. Yeah, we're not resonating, is what it is. And I'm trying to say, what are you talking about? Okay. And so if somebody 4D does the whole I have clairs too, yeah, I'm not competing with you. I don't know what this two is. Is it mean girls? So that's what teenage behavior is. And it's not something that we will be like, oh, that's an evil person. No, it's a low self esteem human being who's basically like a 16-year-old version of themselves who hasn't gotten out of that. And it's an energy that is more of you're not an empowered woman. So there's nothing to do except say, wow, okay, somebody got sensitive all of a sudden. There's your ego sensitive. We don't walk around eggshells, by the way. The empowered women, men, and days. We born like, wow, that was an eggshell. Okay, should we keep chit chatting or not? And sometimes you just ignore it. I've learned to ignore all of that, which is tones, because usually if you present it to somebody, no, I didn't do it. So they don't seem to be aware of their tone. I am because I got presented it a lot though. So back to our empowered women chit chat. So as she's saying, I only pick up 10%. She is actually, it's beautiful when you have humble, actual humble people because that's healthy self-worth people. And it's refreshing compared to, again, people coming to you and saying, I know more about you because I have clairs. Again, really? No, you don't. Stop putting your brain and thinking you know me when you're doing it in a way that's so okay. As we close on out, the part that got really fun with my lovely sciences lady, so she's studying medicine, and I don't remember what type of doctor she's going to become, but she was saying how she totally is, it's more about okay, let me rephrase, she's happier that she has her 10% because she's very sure that she would not be able to maintain a sense of stability with how I have shared with her my journey went and how it goes and all that comes with channeling guidance and downloads. And again, when you're randomly just, interacting with people, because as a mystic, even though to me it's not only the mystic, when you meet Daniel Siegel and in all my courses, I have heard enough from all of them that I understand this relational field of consciousness. And so somatic empaths, they know about what mystics go through. But their sciences and their doctors and their mental health professionals, so they're focused neuroscience, neurobiology, they're focused on it in a technical way with the heart, but without any of the stories that instead we come with a mystic. Because we have beautiful stories. I'll share some at some point. It's amazing when you're uncovering your So astral travel, past life regressions, and when you are also learning about your entire oversoul, so your soulmates, your twin flames, the souls that are part of it. There's like soul colleagues and soul of a season. Okay, so polyamory over here for a reason, and it's all because of this beautiful plane of infinite possibilities. It's not provable, which is why we don't try, but that's also where we only have empowered people, and that's the part of why none of our relationships we love not with our eyes, it's with our heart and soul. There's always a relationship. Now when a line goes stagnant, if you will, it's not stagnant because we're cut. Some people think that they need to cut. Those are the same people who aren't learning to expand their window of welcome. In fact, it's a whole different topic. So empowered people, we always expand, but we will have lines that are basically not communicating. And so it will be more of an absence of you and I can expand together. We're not expanding anymore. For the people who are part of our life, we have exchanges, but we'll know if we are no longer on that wavelength of expansion. So human suffering love narrative, they stop at a certain point because they decide that life is suffering and they don't choose to continue to go to that enlightenment. That's why we got enlightenment Zen masters. No, there's Zen masters who say you cannot achieve enlightenment all the time because you have laundry. So they're not in enlightenment. As they can't achieve it because they got laundry. They don't have a relationship with their emotional plane. So, and it's silly. By the way, remember, it's food for thought. None of us have truth about anything. I need to remember to say that one too. That's why voices and perspective. So, to close us out, this lovely sciences lady, as we're chit chatting about what happens, she asks if I was ever afraid or how did I not get lost or something like that. And I said, I wasn't overwhelmed. My body and my emotions, I love emotions, they're part of life. We have them. And I said also, I grew up with Jesus and God, so I didn't have questions. I've always known love, and luckily for me, it was very straightforward because also I'm practical. So I do sciences. I said I keep both. I can know that my chakras, when things are moving around, it can be my progesterone for my womanhood and stuff like that. I don't need to have one or the other, which is what makes the difference between a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group versus 4D, who are mantles of yoga and spiritual bypassers. So the part about being here, it's for self-empowered women, men, days, 5D relationships, come on over, but also for my 5D mystic community, because as my sciences lady friend presented, she said, it's beautiful because for me, I would only go down the path of the sciences. I'm like, yeah, but that's your realm. You're a doctor material. You're studying to be a doctor. But that's when she said, yeah, but even if I had that other end, I would not think of it the way you're presenting to me. You think of it. And I said, I have integration of the brain. I didn't say it like that, but that's what this is. It's called my right mode. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. Can sit with disparate ideas completely on opposite ends, which is not opposite. See, you ask me, science is spirituality or spiritual. They're not. They're right near each other. They're not contrasting because I'm not using my left mode. I'm using my entire brain, and I'm flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, and I'm married to Shiva, which is nobody knows everything, nothingness. And really what it is I'm grounded in my brain. Physics, again, they study, the physicists, quantum physicists, the hard problem of consciousness. It's not hard for me to conceptualize. And then when I hear, though, a spirituality person, mental health, without the mental health, excuse me, if they have the mental health, then they're better at what they're offering. When they don't have it, then they're not. They're half. So you telling me about while you're meditating having colors and not knowing about Peter Levine and the importance of mentioning your childhood and how colors and other things can be something very important, and that we want to watch that window of tolerance and that we want to maintain. Okay, so when I hear anyone in the holistic plane that doesn't have Peter Levine, Bessel van der Kolk, no attachment trauma information, to me, they represent something that is unsafe for if we have a person who needs a good therapist to be there so that something can be taken care of quickly and effectively in a way that does not re-traumatize or make worse whatever it is that may come up. And that's where the 5D community, we care, sciences and spirituality go together because they're not contradicting each other. One actually shares some of whatever it is that we've learned from spirituality, and then it dispels the myths of people not being human. No, every person is a human. They come out of a fetus. So unless you want to live some movie somewhere, 8 billion plus growing people are human beings. Very straightforward what transgenerational trauma, cultural trauma, and trauma is. So we don't need to make up any words. However, when we see those love dependents, again, human suffering love narrative, so they don't choose to expand, which is why they continue to be on Elsa's journey. And then they have this energetic exchange between them that has nothing to do with this episode, but that we won't be engaging in. And this is that 3D, 4D bandwidth, which I didn't believe as a 5D mystic. I knew the timeline, I just didn't believe that we would actually be separating, because see, 4D explains it like there's going to be three different planets, or that people are going to not talk to each other anymore, or they don't see each other. What's funny is when you're out with a 4D person who actively thinks we will not be seen, and you're out there, they're totally grounded. They're not dissociating clinically. No, they just actively say, no, they won't see us, Maria. Yes, they will. No, they won't. Yes. Yes, we're not invisible. We don't have Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility. No, no, they won't. Okay, fine, whatever. You know what? I don't care. And this was where I had learned, I still do know how to read coffee cups. And so the espresso, you turn it over, and basically you all know about tea leaves, I'm sure. Maybe, maybe not. If you didn't, now you know there's also reading a coffee cup, espresso though. So what you do, once you're done drinking, you turn it over and you leave it to dry, and then you read it. And so it's like scrying again, a lot of different ways that I could talk about it, but I'm very convinced that we will be seen because we're out in public, we're at a cafe, we're not invisible, we got skin going on, but this was right around the time of, it was the second, yeah, it was one of the peak ascension moments. And lo and behold, I was right. We got spotted. We got spotted, but this is a very beautiful story. So, I'll share it that way and then we'll close it out. But is this human being, this man, the owner of the bar, the cafe, he asks us what we're doing. So he has the actual niceness, courage, whatever to, what are you doing? And we talk to him and we explain to him, we're reading coffee cups, and I'm feeling completely, like this is not, I already know this person's like, these are weirdos. You're evil people, but my friend's all excited because she's just discovering her clairs. And so she's just wanting to get it out. So, long story short, though, this man, I am eventually brought back to his cafe with other friends. And this was a different situation where I don't judge people. What this means is I have my own opinions, my preferences, but I don't cast the stone. There's no inherently good, inherently evil. You're a person. If I like you, great, we hang out. Don't like you, we won't hang out. It's not personal. It's simply put, what I would say, common sense people, right? That's for emotionally empowered women, men, and days. So they won't be taken offense. The person who's empowered understands what it means to be different without needing a story. Okay, and some people, they don't. So this human being man, I forget however old he is, he's a business owner, and he only has middle school. The third, in Italian, it's called terza media. So middle school, 8th grade. All the way up to 8th grade, that's it. He didn't go to high school, he didn't go to college. Why am I finding out this? Because we were talking about people, and I mentioned that I feel sorry for these two individuals. One, it's a boyfriend and a girlfriend who the girl got pregnant, but she leaves him, and apparently he can't handle that she left him, and he lights this woman on fire. They're in their mid-20s, so and she's alive, the baby's alive, everybody's fine, but he ends up in prison, obviously. This is what I say. So, well, obviously, he ends up in prison. He represents a threat for society. He did something he shouldn't have, but I feel bad for both of them. I said, for them to end up together, have a baby, they obviously loved each other. Who knows what's happened in their family? I mean, the whole town knows these people because it's a small town. And I'm just sorry for two individuals and the baby because, now, well. And my friends are judgmental people. And there had been a whole other situation where apparently one of their friends thought that I said that I wouldn't send people to prison when I said I don't judge people. which made me laugh because it's not like I'm the ruler of all in the first place, okay? But I'm just like, it's hilarious how people think, because really, for a person to not like a person, become afraid of them. So apparently, this friend of my friends, they're afraid that this woman is afraid of me because I said I don't judge people, and she thought that I was saying I don't put people in prison. Which again, I'm not a prison ward. Even if I were, I work for the state or the government. Like, this is just ridiculous thinking. But this man, and so we're just chit chatting about this other story. And as I'm saying this, that I feel bad for both these people and the child and the family, and I'm wondering how are they going to get any help, like good help to help them get out of addiction, get out of whatever the hell this was. They were both drug addicts. And he turns to me and he just says, "Let me ask you, what's your education? What's your degree? How much education do you have?" And I said, "I have a master's degree." And he says, "Well, maybe it's because I have a middle school degree." He says, "Maybe it's my lack of education." And he's talking to me. The point of this share is another empowered person. It's an empowered man. He is most likely in no way, shape, or form interested in anything mystic related. There's what's called being humble and respectful versus my two friends. I love them to death. They're gossipers. They're total gossipers. They're total teenager Cusco with squirrel attitude. It's hilarious because, this is where that event, I gave it to you in a different order, but the reason I end up finding out about the friend who's afraid of me is after this interaction. Because that's where, when we're leaving, they're like, "So you do believe in prison?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, they exist." "Well, if only you had said that." "We didn't talk. When? What are you talking about?" "The one time, when you told our friend you don't judge people." I said, "Judge doesn't mean prison. What are you talking about again?" And they corrected me and said, "Oh, no. Had you said you sent people to prison, our friend wouldn't be afraid of you." That's when inside I'm like, okay, wow, this is hilarious. They gossiped about me. They're telling me everything without even noticing it. And they didn't take my side. And what did I learn? I learned that my friends don't know how to read my mind in a way that other friends do, which means they didn't know how to say, "Hey, wait, she thinks that you mean this." Because I didn't know she thought that even though, again, it's ridiculous. But the point is, there are people in your circle, when you're able to pick up on each other's areas of perspective, and we're going to close this out, which is why my friend, I said, we should chit chat some more so I can understand how you see me and how it comes across from a person who's open to this. That way I can learn how to communicate it better, because, better means that more people can understand. Which reminds me, if you have any questions, let me know. If you got lost anywhere and you want, some extra explanation or something like that, let me know. But long story short, empowered people, doesn't matter your education, doesn't matter where you come from. What it is an open heart to differences. It's called differentiation and linking. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. So it's people who are flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, not sensitive egos. The people who have the eggshells, who want you to filter your mouth, or the people who come and they get all pissy in their pants, who think that getting pissy in their pants and using words like "you're an enabler, you're this, you're that," whoever does any of that, leave it alone. You got a Cusco in town. Learn how to be Pacha. That's the beauty of personal development. Self-help is securely attachment people like this man who didn't do any of what my I love my friends, but he did not one bit of small. Because see, when you have low self-esteem in a certain way, I'm just going to equate it to that. A person like me, I'm going to pick it up. You're small energy. You're not evil. That ain't evil. That word doesn't even suffice. And in fact, that word doesn't mean anything to a person who's educated, except for Michael Stone's scale, and they all need good therapists. So when you can make human something that others want to make into superhero and supervillain capes, and they're treating humanity and life like it's some movie, it's not a movie. Being a person that's humble, it's called healthy self-worth. And you meet many people, and it's not their level of education. It's the level of capacity for them to be open hearted and to know to shut the mouth because you don't know everything. And to be curious in a way that's interesting. A person who cares about all people, a person who doesn't judge versus somebody who's assuming that you don't judge. Anyways, enough about that. So rigidity, and chaos, that are what comes up for people who don't have a window of welcome to noticing, "Oh, I got implicit bias. I don't like what she's saying." And I'm not going to work with what I don't like. I'm just going to start making up shit in my brain about what she's saying instead of asking clarity. In fact, the questions that I got from this woman were not, "Are you saying you won't send them to prison?" No, it was, I don't. It was, so what if they take, a car? What if they take? She was randomly throwing shit at me as I answered, "I don't judge. I don't judge. I don't judge." And I never once said, "I don't send them to prison." Never once did she say, "So you don't send them to prison?" Because I would have said, I'm not the prison ward. I don't know what you're talking about. So people that are closed-minded and small-minded is what I should say. They're all over the place. They're very interesting. You will find it humorous if you're empowered like me. Yeah, I get to have a lot more fun as I get older because already as a teenager, if you have empowerment, that means healthy self worth. You say, "This is who I am," and you learn how to keep on doing it. And that's why it gets more fun. Conscious lovers, come on over. We have fun, secure attachments. We are fiercely, always consistent. We don't come in and out, no small energy. And sciences and spirituality. It's fun. Join us and have a great day. Like, subscribe, share if you want. And again, send questions in.